What's good, everybody? Happy Hump Day. We have made it halfway through the week, or so. Give or take. You know, if you're working Monday through Friday, if you're like mostly done with the day already today, you know. Hope everybody's staying inspired. Surviving the week all right. I have no idea what I really want to make next for an OhmLab. So I started on some beats this morning, just some fun beats. Some like, I was thinking, what if we started with something kind of cute, started to mutate it a little bit, and then just kind of see where it all goes. So that's what I was doing with my morning challenge time right before stream. And I bounced things in the DAW here, which we'll take a look at in a sec. So no new music this, but we've got new stuff to play with here, DAW. So voice mods. Oh. Uh-oh. You hearing me weird? Let me turn off this in the background. Maybe that'll help. Any better? Deeper voice. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I'm a little bit stuffed up today, so maybe that's what it is. Pitched? Oh, that's weird. Wahahaha. Still? That's weird. Here, let me change my... Okay, cool. So now you're probably hearing like my computer fan and stuff. So let me switch it back. Is that any better for you, Zen? Sounds like I was peeking. Oh, really? Oh, it was the iMac like build computer, but the fan is running right now. So syndromic. How you doing, homie? Still weird, huh? Velvet goat cheese. Does the mine weird to you too? Mine, when I had noise suppression off, it's peaking. I don't really have any noise suppression on. I have, is this mic that I have plugged in? Here, let me unplug the mic. Plug it back in again. All right, is that any better? There was something weird that happened. Oh, cool. Okay, great. There was something weird that happened with this hub that this is plugged into this morning. I lost my second display for a moment, so I unplugged the HDMI cable in that hub and I plugged it back in. I wonder if that kind of borked the signal or something. Excellent. Yeah. Weird. Okay, so now I kind of wonder if I have a failing hub situation. That sucks if I do. All right. Well, welcome back, guys. Happy Hump Day. Not sure what I really want to make next for like an OhmLab music production sound pack. And it's been a little while, and I want to get a couple things out. So, and I've been thinking something beat kind of oriented for the first one for a while now, but I haven't been able to really settle on anything. So this morning, I gave myself a little challenge. I always do something for a few minutes before I fire up the stream. And I was thinking, what if we just start with some really simple, like kick snare hat kind of, or kick clap hat kind of thing. And just start twisting it in different directions and see where it goes. And maybe we come up with something that is kind of fun and inspiring. See where we go. So let's see here. I made a few. Here's 135. Did some at 135, 140, just for like a quick little test here. Normal audio coming out of the DAW, guys? Nihilism core. Yes, yes. Yeah, okay, cool. Just some simple loops. Anyway, I thought they might be good source material on some level for some remixing. So I was thinking maybe what we do is we grab like maybe maybe a 4-bar, 8-bar. Let's do like an 8-bar somewhere randomly in here. And let's start playing with some re-triggering, etc. I haven't even said hi to people yet. Saffron, hello. You were first today. Zendremek, you're here. I love the little party cat, by the way. It's good times. Sorry about your coffee. Sorry for your loss. I tip out some coffee for you, but can't do that. Velvet Goat Cheese, welcome in. Drummer Boy, welcome in. And happy hump day to you guys. Paul is tuning in from frigid Maryland. It's cold here, too, in Portland. 25 degrees, taking the kid to school this morning. I'm sure that's probably nothing compared to all y'all like out in the Midwest. And, well, I guess now Florida and Texas, too. I mean, you guys are all throwing snowballs at each other from what I hear. Anyway, I hope everybody's enjoying the snow out there where it is falling and staying safe and all that kind of stuff. All right, so like I said, I'm not sure exactly what direction I want these things to go yet. And they can go in pretty much any direction, which is why I really wanted to just kind of stick with the 3 elements and keep them somewhat kind of cute almost, right? Like cute, catchy, bouncy, if you will. Good benchmark to steer away from. All right, so let's just put in a couple of breakpoints here and like maybe here. Do a quick little reversal going in here and let's do 2R. All right, so that's kind of fun. So let's take our top band. We'll come back to that mid band here in a bit. But let's take everything from like, say, 2K up. And we'll do something a little bit different with that. Let's go into maybe just like a little basic stutter kind of pattern here. And let's change that up to be, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 6. Oh, those are not even. Got a little stagger here. 1 bar. That's a funky little thing happening there. And this is pretty hot too, isn't it? Let's turn that down. Actually, we'll just do this. We'll take everything in the DAW and we'll just bring it down by a bunch. Hey! Will is here. I did, Will. Yeah, I cut it all off, man. Yeah, every few years. It's being a little funky today because it was in a big old hat this morning. Big old winter hat. We had a snow day about this time in 1977 in North Florida, Paul says. Ooh. Is that a generational storm then? Norman Boy says, oh, also wanted to thank you for putting me on Soundly. Finally finished tagging my own Foley archives this last week. Only took 5 months. Nice. Congratulations and big ups. That's a big thing. Now, you can actually find your stuff intentionally. Leaky Balloon is here. Good afternoon from the East Coast, Canada, he says. We are West Coast. We're Portland here. So, still morning. We still got an hour of morning left here. Not escaping the snow, Paul. Actually, before we do some drive, how about we play with noise just a tiny bit? Maybe we do like a little swill. Let me think here. I'll leave the swell to the saturation patch. Maybe we do this. What do we have here for our hats? All right. Well, let's just do a little. Maybe half bar. The liquid. You know what I have not done? And this has been for a really long time now, and I have no idea why, but I have not updated Shaperbox because we still have a whole nother module that we're not using in here, don't we? Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Leaky Balloon is a great username, isn't it, Syndromic? It's so good. Aw, Leaky Balloon. We both like your name. It's great. Liv, welcome in. Zev needs to update too. Yeah, it's a sneaky one because each time you open it, you're like, ah, it's so awesome, and then you forget that you have the update until you're already rolling, and you're like, I don't want to power down the DAW. Yeah, it's a thing. Respect the Cassell. Thank you so much, Zen. Appreciate you, Hump. Maybe a little filter action here. Ooh, GeForce icon drum, huh? Talk about that. Just here for the Gazelle. Ah, Leaky Balloon, great. Excellent. Good to help you get through work. It's a pretty weird one. What if we, what does this thing sound like? I'm just curious. Just asking for a friend. You know, um, the thing about not knowing exactly what you want to work on is that it leaves you can't find kind of struggling to find satisfaction in pretty much all things, really. I mean, music related or productivity related. I mean, there's a little bit of cool in here. Yeah, like if there was, let's see here. Bear with me here. What if there was like a kind of a rapid. Mhm. We'll just say this is the one, and we'll drop this. Wait, we don't want to drop that, right? Yeah, okay. And we'll just move this down a track. Oh, look at that. Beautiful logic. Freaking love you. Okay. Cool. So now if we start to loop that bad boy. Yeah, okay. So now we can take advantage of our shaper box timing and give this a little weird step. I mean, that's a little bit more interesting, right? All right, so now if we take that and we say, well, that could maybe be something. What is the Stargate thing in the news in? I'm almost afraid to ask what Stargate might be. Madness. Oh, that's what he's calling it. Ugh. Got it. Hmm. It's kind of an interesting little punch out there. Let's see if any of these others have legs here. What else do we have here? Got this one. All right, so this is a different beat entirely. And we've got like a little bit of interesting ear candy that kind of floats through this. If we set this at like an 8 bar, and maybe we'll start over here. It'll be a big wall. It's a great idea if the Earth were flat and space were flat, and you know everyone was just kind of like walking up to it. Put a moat around it too. Black hole moat. Black hole moat. That's awesome. This one actually already has a pretty cool vibe to it, I think. Yeah, I do like this one. I do like this one. For those wondering, I was using reaktor and it was a combination of Klepto Burger and molecular. That's what it was. For those keeping track at home. Super simple workflow. All right, let's do something kind of wild with this one, and then see if we can kind of incorporate it in an almost kind of subtle way. Put this just to the side. We'll put this right on the money. A good Mellotron VST. What DAW are you using, Leaky Balloon? Close shot. How you doing? I love it. Error code orange restart simulation. Interesting one. Maybe we'll keep that. Because Logic has this really awesome feature, you see. Makes stuff like this great. Split by locator. Copy drag down. It's actually going to bring the rack with it. So that Shaperbach instance is kind of embedded in this track now, which is it's fantastic. And I've got my original recording up here. Let's go touch something else. Let's see what this one sounds like. One's a little more crushed. This one's pretty steady Eddie. Mixcraft, huh? Ooh, Arturia, I bet they do have a nice one. I'm not sure if Keyscape has a Mellotron. I bet it would be the best one if they did, yeah. Logic has one built in. I bet. Do you have Reaktor? I wonder if there's a decent one on the Reaktor user library. Let's check really quick. Yeah, there's a pretty old one here. Probably still works. It's just a sampler. Yeah, people are saying it still works. Here's a link. I'll copy it for you. There you go. So if you have Reaktor, you can just grab that, see how that works for you. Give yourself the old King Crimson finish, Beatles finish. But yeah, so this one is a bit of a ride. It's more like a 16 bar kind of deal. So if we listen to this thing, its entirety, there's actually some juice to it. Let's put it like maybe, let's see, here. see what this sounds like over here. You are welcome, Leaky Balloon. Maybe it'll do something for you. What if we were to take the last 4 bars of that? Okay, so it's really these last 2 bars where the wind-up is cool. That's a really weird sounding thing. I bet we can make it way weirder. Welcome to the avant-garde hour, right? Shaperbox does weird things. Fun fact, loggerhead turtles can live over 60 years and weigh up to 250 pounds. Ooh, that's a nice one. I like that fact. Sav says, would be a cool idea if you had a drum machine and use Shaperbox. Yeah. Currently using a drum machine for next album, like the Korg Electribe MK2. Yeah. Patterns are neat, but they can sound dated, but love it anyway. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing I was thinking with this, right? You got this super simple beat, and then you twist it up in some interesting way to give it some character through molecular, and then start using Shaperbox to kind of just make it odd, That's odd. If we put it over here where the beat is a bit more simple, Whoa. Let's give this a little juice. It's kind of heavy. Oh yeah, Saf. Okay, so speaking of really simple drum machines, we're working on the same idea here. If we go up here, this is my source track up here. And I was in reaktor. And I'm using molecular, which I'll turn off for right now. This right here is the main guy. It's called Kleptoburger. It's just a little guy. And the way it works is there's a kick, a clap, and a hat, which you can solo the clap, solo the hat, use a combination of the hat and the clap, get the kick in there. You can turn off those and keep the kick going. Yeah, so you've got options in regards to what kind of output is coming out of this guy. But that said, this is what it sounds like. And you can adjust the density down to like just the core. Cats and boots. It's always cats and boots. And then complexity, density, all the way up. And you've got shuffle control over here. You can dial it back to vanilla or up to weird. So bringing it back down to somewhere over here. Like somewhere here. Just keeping really simple, kind of old school drum machine type settings, and then click random, which will generate a different pattern. And there's a little bit of built-in modulation in here. Super simple. Not under the hood. Under the hood, it's highly complex, but on the surface, it's really simple. And then I was just running it through molecular in various forms, which is just like a modular rack for 4 different insert effects that you can switch up the routing in a bunch of different ways, and then assign modulation schemes to them, and then play with them either in motion or just through the macros or clicking and dragging. You got a few ways in which you can play with this. Yeah, this is fun. It's a fun, quirky little kind of workflow. I bet it's great in VCV Rack as well. Lots of cats and boots. Let's fire up this one. This one's kind of cool. Let's get this up to tape. Clip this. I think this one's actually pretty satisfying already. There's a bunch of these that are really satisfying without going into shaper box. There's part of me that does want to play with like a more of like a multi-effect thing with this workflow, just to see what kind of like extracurricular chaos can be found, right? So a fun way to do that is to, let's save, just take this and we'll send this out to an auxiliary. I'll just send that at full power. And then on this auxiliary, I'll just put reactor, modulation effects. And now on this guy over here, we can load up something weird. Let's see. We're going to find something that's got a bunch of different options in it. I do not remember the name, so I'm slowly scrolling. Oh, you know what? It's probably not in there. It's probably... That's why I'm not seeing it. Okay, processors. Let's load this guy. We'll put the whole ensemble in here. This one's pretty interesting because it gives you 4 channels, and then in those 4 channels, you've got the ability to control the levels of various effects that are happening, and it's a huge pedal board. Basically, there's distortion and ring mod and bit reduction, phaser, flanger, feedback, all sorts of stuff, stuttering, scratching, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I like using battery, leaky balloon. How did y'all learn the program? Oh, well, it's I think a matter of just kind of growing with it over the years is how I learned, because it was, I mean, there's been several different iterations of it. It's always been pretty dope, honestly. And there's a ton of stuff for it, especially if you have complete. A lot of stuff has been mapped over to it. A lot of the expansion packs have already been mapped over. It's an absolute beast. Bad at adding it to the workflow. So there's a few different ways in which you can operate with this. And I'm not familiar enough with the DAW that you're using to make really good recommendations about integration, but I will say that just simply sticking to the piano roll can be really helpful, and then bouncing to audio. So you can see your waveforms. That helps a lot of people, right? It'd be interesting to know what your workflow is. Zen says, hey, OhmLab, so your career is sound design, right? How do you think AI will affect your next 5 to 10 years, considering what AI can do now? Worried? Optimistic? Yeah, so I think that part of the future with AI largely lays waste entirely to a lot of what people are doing right now, simply because AI touching anything is basically saying we're going to solve the problem of having to know or understand how to do this. So what that means is the large majority of people out there that need. Let's just take small business for example. Okay, small business is where a lot of freelancers and creative agencies really make all their bread and butter. Okay, so uh, sound designers, videographers, photographers, graphic designers, right? When a business needs a logo, right? They outsource that because they don't have the staffing to fulfill those needs, right? So those people are going to be the very first people to turn to use AI platforms for various things, right? They're going to get a free logo and they're going to look at 100 options in 2 seconds rather than contacting an agency, having a 3 hour sit down where they can talk about the ethos of the company, the aesthetic that they desire, where they're coming from, where they're going, all that kind of stuff, right? And then allow humans to go back and work on that for a week or two, right? And come back with various comps. And then you kind of escalate through the process, and it's time consuming and obviously expensive. So that times a billion, right? Because there's more small businesses than big businesses, and then you take into account that our entire paradigm is shifting towards solo operators, creators, largely kind of wheeling and dealing where agencies used to. Producers becoming solo acts rather than whole studios providing the service of mixing and recording and engineering, all that kind of stuff. So we've all been kind of like whittling down in this funnel for a while. So I think that in the immediate right now, sound design, me, still fairly safe. There's been a pullback on what people are producing and what they're even buying in regards to music production. But stuff for screen and whatnot still sells pretty consistently. And there's more of that, right? If you think about the number of hours of content that are uploaded to YouTube every single minute, it far outpaces uh, the minute by a lot. So um, it's hard for anything to kind of overtake that demand in the immediate, and the quality of a lot of AI stuff is low still, and the user base is kind of fringe. But I think that's a limited time offer. Like I know that it's been kind of booming for the last couple of years, but I think that's I mean we're still just seeing very surface level stuff. I think that most people who are making music that is intended to serve the masses needs, not big business, but the masses needs. I think the days for income are largely over, which is a shocking and terrifying thing to say. But as the as the new normal catches up with what people are actually doing day to day, it's going to happen pretty quickly. Think about how quickly people adapted to debit, right? The ability to have a card and walk up to the outside of the bank and use the ATM outside of the bank changed everything, right? You could use it at checkout counters everywhere soon after that, and it was done. Like it was done. No one, not the average person, was going into the bank to stand in line and wait to withdraw $20, right? If you needed to withdraw $20, you're just going to go to the ATM. No one else is going to like do that, right? So like we've been seeing this steady funneling for a really really long time, I think. My stuff is a little bit more um, unique, right? But it's nothing is unique enough um, to stand in the way of it or stand up to it. I think the bigger question is how intentionally are people going to be um, going out of their way to support humans in this? I think that's the real question. And I think that the industry of making movies, for instance, has um, more people involved in it. It has than music, right? And it has more people in positions of power that are concerned about their position. So they're fighting really hard on that side of things. And I think that there are things being put in place right now to protect people in general when it comes to what people are watching when it comes out of Hollywood. But that's the key word, is out of Hollywood. It can come out of anywhere else, and those people don't have like a strong allegiance to the old way things were done in Hollywood. So I feel like it, like by and large, we're at a huge tipping point, whether people realize it or not. And I think that there's a great deal of like wonder and discovery ahead of us. And I think that people that are adopting to and adapting or adopting and adapting to the new technology, the new AI models, and understanding how they work, are going to have a really big leg up in the future, right? Because I personally, I have signature sounds when it comes to certain things, which allows me to build my own private models, right? Allow those models to ingest things that I've created with those specific kind of signature sounds or processes that are kind of exclusive to me, or somewhat exclusive to me, and then build new things out of that, or allow people to use those models directly, right? So I think this is the kind of mindset that people need to have of like, instead of thinking that AI is going to shut down me entirely in the future, it's more like, well, how can I put me into AI, right? Because people are going to continue to turn to AI no matter what. We're not going to just start for the fun of it going back to before Photoshop. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to imagery and thinking about the manipulation of imagery, we're just not going to do that. We're not going to. So people are not going to stop turning towards AI. So I think it's really about, um, you know, shifting mindset and embracing uh, the concept of AI as a tool, the same way that you would adopt the concept of a sampler into your work and how it can benefit you, what you can do, ways in which you can exploit it, uh, or use it as a supporting mechanism in your workflow, right? Yeah, this is really it. Um, hey, DJ Wolfmeister's here. How you doing, man? Syndromic says the Google video generator has become quite convincing, and the Suno Music AI can nail more traditional songs pretty good. It's not 100%, but it's come a long way. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I also think that we are we are on the corner. We're not like coming around. We're like we are right in the middle of a corner being turned, I think, when it comes to the realism and all that. I think that people think that's a little bit further out, but I think it's there. The thing that isn't there yet is the complex sound design stuff. Music, in a way, is a little bit easier when it comes to those specific models because it's all about pitch change over time. And in a lot of the more modern, like cinematic type sound design stuff, it's very abstract and atonal. Lots and lots and lots of layering. So there's a lot entangled in that sound and how it's made. And AI models have not uh, that I've seen been able to sculpt out of white noise that level of precision. But they will. Uh, the reason why they haven't is because the models haven't been geared towards that specifically, but they've been geared towards music because music is what sells. Well, you can fingerprint music, right, and then you can collect money off of that music forever. So that's important. You can't do the same thing with sounds. So there's a smaller gap ahead for sound designers, I guess, than there is for musicians. And that said, that does give sound designers a bit of a leg up because we've had our hands in the pudding for so long making instruments, right, and stuff like that, that we can continue to stay ahead of a curve, a trend, right? The other thing that people really have going for them in all of this is that the evolution of music comes from exploration. And AI doesn't really explore on its own at this point. It's more of like a rapid lookup service, right? And we can exploit that in this window of time too. um, yeah, it's really just kind of understanding how the things work and then putting yourself into them rather than allowing them to displace you entirely. Yeah. But it is a massive sea change event that's occurring. Like it cannot be denied. Leaky Balloon says the other aspect is demand. As far as I can tell, literally no one wants AI music outside of industry execs. Um, yeah, I think that the thing that people do want is the cost aspect of it and the turnaround time aspect of it, right? Imagine if you are a YouTube operator, like you've got a channel on YouTube and you're putting out pretty regular content and you're trying to swing a deal with a person to get this stuff done. They're the slowest piece of the entire puzzle, right? Everything else can be assisted, automated, helped, whatever, in so many ways. But if you're dependent upon other people for music, you have to slow down and wait for them, right? And then there's the whole fact that like you don't own that thing unless you buy it out, which can become kind of expensive. And so there's a thing, right? There's a thing. You can go the royalty-free route, which is what by and large most people do nowadays, right? Because they don't want to continue to pay royalties. So we've already been kind of funneling in this direction too for a really long time. It's just that this is the same as image generation. Right now, stop and think about that for a second. We all turn to image generation because it's instant and it's easy. Now, stop and think like that same exact thing is true about music, and it doesn't have to be perfect. None of the things actually have to be perfect for those applications, right? You need humans involved right now to make stuff perfect, to like fit the moment, get the timing and the emotional curve, the arc of everything. Yeah. So Drumming says, I find the more unique electronic music sounds the AI has trouble with, but typical formulaic music is close to be matched by AI. You can still tell if you're a pro, but the average muggle, they may not be able to keep AI from real apart. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And I think we are literally in that turn on the corner right now. I think that's where we are time wise on our timeline. Paul is saying AI facing similar hurdles that sampling did in the early 80s, put us all out of work, etc. Well, except for the fact that samplers didn't make entire pieces of work. You still had to understand music theory, for instance. You didn't any longer have to learn how to physically play those instruments. Um, and this is literally just like a button. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Syndromic says, oh, yeah, this isn't 10 to 20 years away. This is next year or three. I would say it's probably more like in the next month or so is when we'll start to see bigger tipping points, I think. It's really fast. I think it's going to happen incredibly fast. And I think that it's going to happen in ways that you don't expect. Like, you have to think of AI tools as plugins, right? Once it's been established as a thing, now you can insert that thing anywhere. Like the tools that we've been building, we've been able to insert them into Audio Design Desk, for instance, right? So you have a sound gen AI tool in there, you've got a marketplace in there, you've got um, artwork generation, all this stuff, right, to assist you in the process. And it's um, hmm. Yeah, it's insertable. It's modular. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Modular. Um, but you'll be seeing it in interesting ways. Like imagine going into um, Instagram, for instance, right, and dropping a picture in there, and it asking you, "Hey, do you want this to be video or picture?" Right? It's not a question you expect when you're uploading a picture to share with your friends. Um, but you taking a picture of thing that you just finished painting in your backyard could come to life, right? And it probably will. But I think that those are the ways in which it starts to creep in to life in ways that allows people to adopt it immediately. Like there's not going to be a huge adoption period or adaption period because it's just going to be, right? Um, yeah. Zen says, I often use novel sounds in my music more on experimental side, so AI can't quit do that. Can't quite do that. AI can simulate, but still need a human to guide if something is good or of a certain taste. Yeah, absolutely. The interesting thing about the way that the human brain works is that we are like, we recognize patterns, and when we hear them and they are anything but what we expected, we find them interesting, right? And unless it really pushes against one of our senses in like a disturbing or grotesque or like dangerous way, um, we're going to find a level of interest and fascination around it, right? There's a level of retreat when things are like too harsh or whatever. Um, but by and large, um, we are we are creatures that are highly predictable. We're not going to be able to um, uh, resist all of the all of the easy buttons. Yeah, well, Syndromic, a lot of stuff is good though. Like they're not having to cherry pick quite as much as they used to. Yeah. Hey Nate, how you doing, man? It's a good spot there in the corner, Nate. Hope you're doing well. Hope the new year is treating you all right. Yeah, Leaky Balloon, of course. Yeah. Yeah, so here's the other part of this, and Liv really nails it, and that is that not everything is for everyone, right? And that's really like, yes, the average person knows how to use subtle photo manipulation things, but they're not Photoshop experts. So if they actually need something done in Photoshop, they're going to turn to a person or a tool that can do that kind of for them, right? And same is true with all of these kind of tools of craft, you know. Um, so the humans that understand how to operate these things at a proficient and efficient level are, you know, to some extent safe. Um, we just kind of have to see how humans at large proceed. And as the technology is being adopted, you also have to keep in mind that a lot of people out there that are going to go and like download stuff and be super jazzed that it's free are folks that weren't going to pay you in the first place for anything creative that you're doing and haven't been paying you, right? Um, so there's that too. It's not all doom and gloom. Um, but we are in a pot getting warmer. Yeah, Zendremic, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. You have how many DJs on Twitch and how many people are sitting in each stream? I think that people just kind of gravitate to the tribes that they feel aligned with, and they tend to stick to the tribes that they know. Yeah. Paul, that right there is what we've built. That is largely the concept around sound gen. The idea that I've come up with a riff, I'm going to upload it into this thing, and now I'm going to start riffing with this thing around this idea that I have. So it has audio in, you can record in, and um, yeah, it's quite assistive. Yeah, Zendremic, that's it right there. This is this is the kind of thinking that you should be having. Think of this more as like it could be competition if you stand there and watch it, but if you start to participate with it, right? Say you are thousands of miles away from the guy that you want to collaborate with, right? But you both were clever little monkeys, and you make models, right? Or you allow yourself the liberty to start using some of these tools, and think of them as this friend that's like a couple thousand miles away that you can't be in the same room with. Lines get blurred a little bit. Well, okay, yeah, the ethics and them training models off of existing music was crap. Like, I think that it, I don't know. I think if there was a really smart group of people, they could figure out how to sue each one of these giants simultaneously in just such a way that all of the outcomes are not cash awards but public interest, right? So artists in at large, anyone who's uploading content is now tapping into a general fund, right? The more you participate, the more your stuff is used, blah 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 blah, becomes a living ecosystem or economy. I could see something like that occurring, but I don't know. People are freaking greedy. I don't know if it's realistic. Nate says, it's the analogy I use now, setting the volume to 5%, the faint voice of my friend keeping me company. Yeah. Yeah. Liv says, I don't know, it's pretty easy to Google anything you might need to do in Photoshop and get a video tutorial that covers it. Yeah, it's true. Fun guy, fun beats. Get your protein. What's up, Kwame? How you doing? Leaky Balloon says, you might argue that people who weren't going to pay you might develop a demand for higher quality music after tiring of AI tricks. I don't think so, because that's assuming that AI will stay the same forever, and it won't. It will continue to improve. Yeah. Liv says, I'm no longer convinced smart people exist. Will we become smarter or dumber? Syndromic says, fun fact, most superstars have basically cosplayed as some character. The huge character, or the character and storyline of individuals will play a huge role in how successful they become, regardless of AI or no AI. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Oh yeah, I'm not even sure if I'm smart, Syndromic. I mean, if I mean, we're smart enough to play with all these toys and have fun, and that's really all that really matters at this point of the game. The question was posed the other day, are we currently in a dystopia? And my response was, from whose perspective? Right? Because if you were born into this recently, you might not feel that at all. But if you've had some perspective on the matter, I feel like the older you are, the quicker you are to say yes right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Smart. Yeah, that's pretty subjective, the whole smart thing, isn't it? That's funny. Lots of things are. Hey, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Like Paul says, for a time, I was smart enough to have smarter people working for me. Yeah, absolutely. Right? Totally. Our grandparents are like, I literally have no idea where I am anymore. Yeah, it's true. That's so true. Wow. Random spacebar hit. Sorry about that, guys. This is very loud here. Yeah, I think these like as they are, if they're beefed up with a little bit of bit crush, give them a little bit of an edge. And they actually sound fairly complete. All right, these are what, 140 now? That one's a little busy, but the texture in it might be fun with Shaperbox. This one would be fun with Shaperbox. Right? Those little squeaky art bits. Yeah, super cute, right? Yeah, I feel like some of these actually have a fair bit of potential in them. Oh, that one's kind of interesting. If we take that out, just turn this into a retrigger, and turn this into a reverse. Ooh, what if it's... Ah, I'm kind of stumbling into something here. What if we got something that is just barely noticeable, that it is uh, like speeding up and slowing down just enough to like catch it on the one each time around? That'd be too wonky? Probably. Let's play. It's a little extreme there. Maybe we'll take this guy out. Move him here. Trigger to here. All right, now go climb up, climb down. Okay, right, that was weird. Let's find that kick again. It is kind of funny how precise you can get with shaper box with these tiny little handles. Yeah, I think you're right, Syndromic. I think that there's enough of a backlog of like normal music for there to be greater exploration. I mean, how many thousands of hours of music are being uploaded a day right now? You know what I mean? I mean, it's just who's gonna listen to all of it, you know? Um, so yeah, I think some pretty like bold uh, changes are coming. And I think we'll probably start to see those type of sea change events happen after some of the legal dust settles, right? As in regards to like how legal is AI? Is it sticking around? Who's getting the money from it? Blah 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 blah. When that starts to settle, I think you're going to start to see the ability for companies like that to use content really throttled, and a new era will be born in regards to the economy around this stuff. And I think that is when humans can have a real field day with making bold, innovative changes with sound, and a return to like long lost stuff, or like exotic multicultural fusion type stuff that just hasn't been part of that big backlog that was ingested originally. I think that's where we'll start to see the real like renaissance, this resurgence, if you will. Yeah. Piano punch cards is where it's at. Mr. Dewey Decimal. Like a reel to reel. Oh, man. Well, just like, there's nothing. I don't know. I mean, we can start using tools in such weird way. Like here, watch this, watch this, watch this. If I take this and then I start putting volume into this. Okay, so now I'm going to put a pluck into play here. Okay, so now we've got this thing, and it is affecting the playback of our sound. One bar fades, one shots basically. Take this up to eighth notes, rhythmic. Okay, so now we've got like this kind of robotic, kind of gated, weird thing. Let's take this out of sync though, right? And like just get it into some weird place. go to hertz. Now let's put some compression after that. Maybe we'll put the time after that. Nah, let's put it before. And then this is just an exploration in extremes, right? Let's take this guy. Now, unfortunately, I don't have another volume unit to chop away at my sounds, but I do have a filter, so we can start doing something with that. Right, but if humans just decide that we're going to start making music out of beats and beats out of music, and that's just how we're going to start going about our business, then we start getting into some just game-changing stuff immediately, right? Let's get some weird rhythm with wood scrapes going in here. I think we just need a kick drum under this thing now. So maybe humanity is going towards some weird digital hybrid nutty stuff. Hey, Nano's here. What's up, Ben? How you doing, man? Yeah, that's a great trick. Going back to playing piano, never recording it. Yeah. What day is it, Nano? Yeah. Cult status is a good thing to strive for. Absolutely. Oh, Liv, can we call you and have speakerphone parties while you're playing or something? It's hump day. Some weird stuff. That's all I know for sure. what a great time to look up at the chat. Oh, are there warranties involved in that? Um, ooh, you know what? You know what? You know what? Since we've just gone completely off the rails here. If I were to go, let's move away from our little friend here. Oh gosh, this is like, it's the worst when this happens. We're gonna start again. There we go. Okay. Let's go for. Ooh, yes, I just had a good idea of what I would like to do. And before I hit play on that game, I turn this up and give you guys a little bit of hold music. I'm going to go hit the bathroom. I'll be right back. Man, I leave for just 1 minute and look at what happens. Josh is here. How you doing, homie? Paul is gone. Paul, take care. Saf, you're leaving. Take care. Good having you guys. DJ Wolfmeister's asking, where can I go listen to original music? Different places. Let's see here. Lots of it is under Watermark. One place you'll be able to listen to a fair bit of cinematic stuff without any of that is going to be in the Sounds Marketplace. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I just lopped it all off again. Where was I going? Oh, I was going to go grab links for you guys. One of them is over here. Here's a here's a link to stuff that you guys hear me make here. Fair bit. This is one of the old licensing. Where am I going here? There we go. It was awful, Ben. It was awful. We were out of house for a month, and the city was out there working with a full crew, 10 feet down on the ground for over a month. It was a harrowing experience. So that link, that is a good example of what to do with the cutting room floor stuff, like the stuff that isn't going anywhere, like the stuff that's just like taking up space or dust or whatever. This is like a really old portfolio that I started adding stuff to again recently. And it's got just like old, like dated stuff in there, but it's also got some like newer, fresher stuff in it. The city doesn't pay anyone anything. That's not a thing. No, that's not a thing. I'm fighting with the city right now for charging me even more for using water that wasn't used while we weren't even here on the property because they were blocking us from the property. Like it's all tangled. I have to go there after the stream again today. It's still going on. It's still going on. This has been months of my life. But it is what it is. Logic. I was thinking that it would be kind of fun to take... Oh yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And, you know, they're your source of water. It's very similar to how you have to deal with like a landlord, right? You have to be, there's some savviness to this. Like there's some tact to the approach. It's just straight up like worthy of being called a scam, honestly. Yeah, they say that our usage increased over the annual average. It just so happened that they tried to pull the shenanigans in the middle of us being out of house. And then another bill came rapidly onto, I don't need to get into all this, but it's just like several $100s all of a sudden within like a very short period of time. And it's like, I want you guys to explain this. I demand that someone freaking explain this. But they're dragging their feet so much now that it's like, because they're a utility, they'll like, well, we'll just turn it off. It's like, man, hostages right here. Yeah, guy, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Loving and praise without smothering them. Right, that's the one. Oh, it's been a long time since I've been in this thing. How do I do this again? Oh gosh, sorry in advance. That's a dope one. Let's play with this one for a minute. Ooh. Ooh. That's kind of a sick one right there. Ooh, Proxima's here. Who else is here? Man, if someone told you that life just keeps getting better, I would hunt them down. I'd make them pay. I'd make them pay. Yeah, definitely. Sue them. How are you, Proxima? Doing all right over here. DJ Wolfmeister. Yeah, I think the large majority of us are musicians, sound designers here. Yeah. I think it's pretty safe to say on most given days. You got the random stragglers that come in, but Proxima, this is sample based. There is some grains in that the length of the sample being allowed through um, is kind of gated in a way. Um, so you've got ability to manage speed, rate at which that is occurring, the grain size, the pitch, the smoothness. You can pick some samples. Samples are being pulled from sample bank. Sample bank is loaded up with a different audio file on each um, uh, spot in the MIDI channel. Oops, I just totally moved one. So now we'll have a little moment of silence in there while we're playing. So this just very quickly pulls up different samples, and then it is being gated through this little punch. This is a really horrible interface this thing has. But there's these little buttons that I punch here to dial in a pattern. There's a sync rate here and a direction in which we'll go through this pattern. So we're going through it forward at a rate of 1/16. ADSR control over the sound delivery here. We've got attack down to make it really percussive. But we can absolutely make it even more percussive by bringing back the decay a bit and bringing down the sustain and forcing it to be a bit more punchy. And then we've got the ability to use this multi-mod matrix here, which is really unique in that you've got an XY grid. Now you can use this XY grid to, in a static target position, just click on a spot, drag around in real time, and have it start affecting things like feedback or pitch shifting or distortion or ring mod or phaser or whatever. Right now we're playing with the FM. You can also record small automation recordings in here and then play that back. It uses the same mechanical approach that you see in other reactor tools like metaphysical function and whatnot. Very dated. Very, very dated. I mean, this would be fun to build a little topper pack out of, right? It's an interesting tool. I mean, we can put whatever sounds we want into it. So I'm thinking we take some probably some space dust recordings and probably some ambient glitch textures. And maybe some simple like growl-based tones and maybe some understated things like little tape noise profiles and stuff like that, and intermingle them in a new sample map and bring them in here and start carving out new madness. Because if you can imagine, here, we'll just put a kick behind it. Well, this won't be a good kick, but... yeah, it's kind of a busy thing back there. Very digital. Hmm. Just some Richard Devine stuff there. Put a kick behind it. Hmm. DJ Wolfmeister says, I just want to grow my followers' fan base in music without needing to become a social media guy or influencer. Shudders. Yeah. Um, Ooh, hold on a second. I just started reading this, so now I have to pick this up and I'll come right back to that, Wolfie. Proxima says, also, holy shit, I picked up last minute notice to do a live set at Pulse on the 1st. Nice. I'm going to be in a dungy, musty basement doing live hardware techno. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, this is pretty Prodigy, isn't it? Yeah, that's rad. Um, yeah, Wolf, something that you can do, um, the and it at some point in time, the word label got completely caught up and misconstrued with um, evil corporation. Because most of the labels out there are just really chill folks that are making really awesome music and trying to find a way to get that music heard by more people. So they band together with other like minded people uh, in hopes that having more of this stuff together in one place will be an easier way to build a fan base, right? An audience. So I would really recommend looking into labels, labels that can help you because this is exactly the part that is supposed to be outsourced for artists. It really is. Like it's a great model. Like you take the evil empire part of it out, and it is really a good model because I, as a fan, can kind of subscribe to being part of this community that is ambient dub, for instance, right? So now this label that is all ambient dub is able to introduce me to all sorts of artists that I wouldn't have been able to find or wouldn't have found as easily otherwise, right? And that's by and large how like the whole pipeline starts. So otherwise, you're kind of stuck in the muck where you're reaching out to playlists and hoping to get stuff put into playlists because they're the new radio stations, and you hope that you stay in those playlists, and there's this hustle involved. And then if you're not going to do that, then you're paying for some sort of service to do it for you, or you're doing it yourself, like you said, which you don't want to do. Um, Wolfie's saying someone once said to me, "Life begins at 40, but so does a complete collapse of your nervous system." Oh man, yeah, I think for someone like you, Wolfie, it would be good to find a label to sit with because you have such a deep archive of stuff, and it all kind of runs in the same vein of style and approach and everything. So the same audience would largely be attracted to it. So finding a label that kind of is aligned with that ethos, I think it'd be good for you. I think it'd be good for you because all you're ever going to do is wake up and be surprised at, how many listens have occurred. And I feel like the big pushback that I usually hear when I bring up labels is that, well, I don't want to like give up half my, you know, value or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, unless you're going to open your own store and do everything all by yourself, and you know what I mean? Electro machine. Yeah. I'm going to turn back on some of this electro machine weirdness. Yeah, finding a good one. And I know that's the big challenge, right? Is finding a decently active and engaged label that isn't distracted by other things. That's really kind of the key thing. You want one that's healthy enough to uh, support and sustain the person running it or people running it. Um, because then it behooves them to grow it. I think we need to put a kick behind this thing just to see. Let's go here. But it, making old school tracks. See, now it sounds intentional like a topper, and before it was maybe just kind of some weird noise, right? But you put something under it and you're like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing here. And then you can make those cuts a little harder, stand out just a little bit more. Hmm. Yeah, I think this would be a fun pack, don't you? If we were to just kind of bring in super super random, I mean, it wouldn't have to be all super digital. We can make some of it kind of noise based too. I think equally as tasty and worthy of our time. Like a deer in the strobe lights. All right, so what we're going to do here is add ourselves a little bit of this. It's back just a little bit. Bring this up just a little bit. Let's back up to tape again. And now we're just going to clip like fairly aggressively here. And let's just take some of the bloat out early. Oh, that's a tough call, though. I feel like I kind of want to ship these with sub. Because that's going to be baked into a fair number of drops. All right, we could compromise and take a little bit. I like it with the sub too. Yeah, I like it with the sub too. How about we take and we'll just take this and we'll call this topper. See if we can grab all that. Let's see what it did. Bring this down a bit. Yeah, that's pretty tasty. I think that is easily twisted into some fun stuff. Like for instance, let's take a 4-bar from over here, and let's put a shaper in here. Just do a little re-trigger here. It's a little 2x2. There are some pretty serious sound design implications here. Let's do like this is a 4-bar here. Let's go a little pitch pattern here. Where's our kick? Everything sounds better when there's a kick behind it, because all of a sudden now it's like it's music. It's not just chaos. Kind of funny how that works. Yeah, see, now, wouldn't it be funny if we could best AI at... We could just start making bot beats and just confuse the hell out of AI. Like, hey, can you remix this little beat for me, bot? And just watch it break down. All right, so now this, if we start to chop away at this, quicker. Quicker still. How long have I been using Logic Pro? Yeah, since it started. I was still with Apple when Logic really started growing up. Would I ever consider doing a more casual sample flip activity with the chat? Yeah, absolutely. We used to do a lot of that. Um, we kind of got away from it when production started getting heavy with ADD, and we never really got back to it. We had a slightly different approach to streams then too. We had a lot more focus on community challenges, and it was pretty consistent that people would bring in stuff to be used in stream. Whether that stuff was actually being flipped into sounds for packs or whether it was just something that was occurring in stream kind of varied. But yeah, absolutely. There's always been like a level of community collab. Just train AI on Aphex Twin, right? Yeah, absolutely. Proxima, it's like it's the super little things. I'm just reading your comment. You're saying, I know it's like so basic, but I just love how shifting percussion rhythm left and right recontextualize the scope of every other layer. It's so true. It's so true. Syndromic says, true, I did a music concrete experiment and it all sounds like noise arranged nicely, although once I added a beat, it became music. Yeah. Yeah. Percussion is a window of musical context, and I just dig. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, ADD Audio Design Desk, which is this behemoth here, which is this DAW that we've been working on for the past several years now. But this is a DAW that's intended. It's built to put sound to picture. So this is a sound design DAW where Logic is a music production DAW. They operate very differently. Like for instance, we have not built the ability for full MIDI capability. We have MIDI in here, so you can use a MIDI controller as a trigger for custom built sound banks. So you can trigger them in real time, like while watching something. But you don't have the ability to load VST instruments, for instance, and play with a piano roll or anything like that. So this is very much a sound design beast. And this right here is very much a music making beast. Proxima says the only religion I pray to is syncopation. Oh, that's funny. Tommy Tallarico? That name is familiar. Where's Tommy Tallarico from? capital, you say? Yeah, this is another classic ohm maneuver. Is just, you guys can probably hear this in old sound packs, especially stuff that's been retired for a while. But just kind of slipping just out of normal lockstep. It gives it a nice little swing. It's like just barely ahead. And in some ways, as a topper, it feels more natural than starting on the one to me. Leaves some room for the kick, if you will. Yeah, these are just madness. Ooh, like that's perfectly in line with the kick right now, and it makes it feel like music rather than a topper, really. Yeah, it's in lockstep. It's almost as if it's a process of the kick. That's great. He's from another world. Oh no. Oh, Syndremic. I hope no one is actually drilling through your wall right now. Oh man. A goblin of a man who ran a major sound design studio and claimed he was hotter shit than he actually was. Oh man. Drills back. How do you like it, huh? Good morning. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've always been really happy to like share what I do know and try to be quick to say when I don't know, and hope that I don't hope that I don't sound like I'm mansplaining when I do share. So hopefully I'm not in that in any way. I think I've kind of stumbled into what I'd like to do for the next pack. I keep coming back to the thought that I'd like for it to be percussive in nature, like a B pack or a topper pack, just because it's the first one in a while and they're a little bit more accessible than melodic stuff and presets. But this is just straight chaos here, so accessibility be damned, really. Oh, Tommy's issue was theft. Ha ha ha. Olivia says, I don't feel like you've ever mansplained anything. Oh, hey, hooray! That's a goal. That's like a I feel like I've just unlocked an achievement in a game, you know? Like, hey, you've played for 10,000 hours and you have mansplained, which is like, whew, man. Because it's easy to do, right? Because like I'm a man, and there's explaining. See, mansplaining is when a man starts explaining how something really obvious works to people when it doesn't need explaining. That's what mansplaining. Oh, see, this is actually what I just lost my word. Aw, thank you, Wolfie. Now Dad's blamed, yeah. I do kind of aim to dad's plane. I was having this conversation with my partner the other day about how like how upset I am at my father for never like taking the time to explain, like financial stuff to any of us kids, or the things that never got demystified that absolutely should have been part of the playbook. So those things, like I've found myself actually like having the goal of being a good dad splainer with life things, and I'm really hoping that I end up hitting the spot when that time comes. Home Papa. Ah. Oh man. You guys. Well, hey, we've all got dad issues, so we can all like struggle through them together here, right? Dad's planning is just making shit up kids when you don't actually know the answer. Why don't we ever see the tooth fairy? Well, you see, it's because of this complex pipe system that they travel in. Oh man. Ah, live. Yeah, see, it's hard. It is tough. It's tough to get a whole stack. A full stack dad is not easy to come by. I think the internet. The internet is the full stack dad. Nano says, dad's planning is why I'm suing that guy from when I was 8. A full stack dad. I think it's a new term. But it's true. It's tough to find a full stack dad in all the ways that you really need. A lot of us get ones that are like really handy and emotionally inept, or vice versa, or whatever in between, or whatever. Yeah, that's true. Stack dad. I don't even aim to be a full stack dad. Honestly, maybe this is a key to being a good dad. I don't know, but honestly, my only goal with my kid, besides raising a better human, is I want him to want to spend time with me when he's older. Like genuinely want to. And like actually want to talk about things and not be like so sick of me by that point. So I feel like I'm that's what I'm aiming for. That's what I'm aiming for. It'll probably help keep me young too. Okay, so I kind of like the reshuffling with the shaper box. I'm also kind of curious because I never played too much with the presets in here, but I am kind of curious. Oh, we can play with one of the divine presets here. Maybe a pulse. It's just too much. Puts it right on the ones for you. Now, it really loses all of its appeal when you just put it back on the grid. Okay, so going back up here to our source track then, and going back to the entirety of this. Proxima says, the expectation of a full stack parent is flawed to begin with, and just kind of goes to the atomic family concept. It takes a village to raise a kid. Word. Word. Syndremic says, my dad was born and died in a bottle. I don't remember him, to be honest. That sucks, Syndremic. I am sorry. But I'm glad that you ended up on a path that led you to us. So it is what it is, as they say. Yeah. Hmm. Sadness. 2K2TV is saying key is to show interest in their interests. Absolutely. Yeah, I am dedicated. I am so fully engaged. We play for many hours together every single day. Yeah, pretty great. We only ever even touch music stuff when he brings it up. So good stuff. All right, so back to our source sound here. Let's just grab a slightly different angle on this. And let's get a different little rhythm going here too. Too much. Let's take both those down. Let's take this one off the kick. It's so much harder to sell a topper when it's offbeat, you know? Control. How you doing, man? Control 4 official. Happy hump day to you. No, Syndremic, dude. Go ahead and post. As long as you guys aren't like having some sort of issues with other people in chat around posting links to your stuff, I do not have issues with it. I think the only time it might come into play is if we're like in the midst of a busy chat moment or something. I don't know. Some people spam, and that sucks. This one's kind of interesting. Can be shuffled a bit more. Ooh, there's a spot. It's the wrong rhythm for the sound, but let's find the right rhythm for it because that's actually pretty cool. That's a pretty interesting one. It's got some weird little uh like kind of throaty granular bits lurking in there. Hmm. It's a fun little ending there. That was almost like a little radio stab there at the very end. Is that? Oh, let's turn this off. A lot of really good source sounds in here. Like, think about how many different magic spells or like transition sounds you can make from this. A lot of good, like, electrically charged static sounds in here. Ooh. Ooh. I mean, come on. It's like a. Come on. That's like a digital Woody Woodpecker. Oh. What am I missing? I noticed that many individuals have a creativity issue, like literally not understanding how to be creative or get to their own ideas. That's crazy. Man, I have so much in my head to get out. Yeah, I feel like there are. I was having this conversation the other night. I feel like there are, and this is not just in like art. I think it's in anything really. But there are those that are born into something. They're a conduit. It runs through them. They cannot help but be that thing. And then there are others that discover something in life and they seek it out and they train and they slowly and methodically become the thing that they want. Um, there's like two different things. And I feel like those that are like everything is innate, like you just can't help it. Like the stuff is in you, it's going to come out in some way. Let's just hope it's through music, right? Syndromic says, "Oh, OhmLab, I have an update on that last whip date. You're going to be here on Friday for feedback." Yes, yes. Weedback, yes. Oh man, the final version. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Scanner XT is really insane, and I love Scanner XT. I love Scanner XT. We were talking a little bit earlier. Who was it that Zendremic? It was you that posed the question about the AI stuff, right? Like, where do you see, or how do you see it impacting 5, 10 years down the road, whatever. This is a really good example. Scanner XT is not typically used for making percussive sounds, for instance. Where is? Oh, you know what? It's not. It's in Soundfreaks and it is here. Okay, so the 404 drum collection, which is actually from my Soundfreaks label, not OhmLab, but this whole thing, which is I forget how many sounds. It's a lot. Maybe it actually says on the art here. Oops! Don't erase all of that stuff. I don't think it does. Anyway, all of the sounds in here came from two sounds. One was a tap. It was like a pencil or a pen on this desk, and I think it was a pencil, and the other one was a finger like being pushed on the desk, like kind of a squeakish kind of a thing. There may have been a thump too, but that's it. Okay. Now those sounds were then taken into Scanner XT of all things, and I flipped that sound into. Well, let's see here. There's 41 there. 15. Probably a couple hundred sounds or so. A few hundred sounds, it looks like. Probably a few hundred sounds. But they're wild. So, like AI, they can't, it doesn't think like this, right? And these sounds are lurking in like a fingertip or like a pencil tap. Scanner XT is amazing. How did I do it? Can I show you? I can show you partially. Yeah, let's save this. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, ba. All right, let's turn off all those. Wait a minute, how did I end up with an audio track? Just a second here. All right, let's get reaktor in here. Ah, thank you for the biddies. Okay, so inside reaktor, get into scanner. And the first thing you do in scanner is you switch to B view, so you can actually see the synth. And then the next thing you have to do is understand exactly what is actually happening here. And it's pretty interesting what is happening. You show me, show me what you did, please. The output of an AI isn't a collection of the thousands of decisions a human being made. Nope, it's simply an approximation of the output. Yeah, it's absolutely true. That's fantastically true. All right, so we've got a few different things happening here. There is a sample bank present, and an audio file is being served up here. This is a library, like official one that they sell outside of the reaktor library, like on its own. So I don't know that you have access to the sample map by way of the interface, but you have the samples over here in a separate folder. So you can drop other samples into this folder here. But this is what they actually sound like if you have interest in listening to what. That is this sound, for instance, right? So this is the default patch inside of Scanner XT. Let's get rid of this loop here. Get over it. I am not getting anything here. Why is that? Please hold. This might be the hub thing again that we encountered at the top of the stream with the microphone. All right, let's see if that did the trick. Yeah, I think there's something up with the hub. Okay, so this is simply this waveform here being sampled, and it's pulling from this spot over here where this tiny, tiny, tiny little line is showing, which is why the timbre is what it is. And if we were to move that over, we would get a different kind of timbre. So part of it is just understanding like how the sound is actually happening, and then the other is understanding what's happening with these guys over here. This LFO, you can see this little icon underneath these guys. You can modulate the position of these guys with this guy. And then you start to get into interesting places. And you can start to see some things happening over here as a result. You can also push this thing forward with the envelope or make it move in relation to the shape of the envelope. And then there's the feedback parameter. And now you've got your amp envelope over here. So if you want, you can take this sustain sound and you can make it a pluck sound pretty quickly. It's really just kind of about using the thing in your own way. This is velocity over here, so velocity will have an impact upon the delivery of the sound. And then you've just got to get really creative, right? You've got echo down here, you've got flanger down here as onboard effects. You've also got an 8-pole filter or a cabinet that you can play with. You've also got onboard reverb here. And you can use these to your advantage. And start putting more modulation in. The LFO is here. This is going to control the rate of the LFO, the depth of the LFO here. You've got millisecond percentage over here. Got big control, little control. So the more time you give to your decay, the more change over time is disclosed. So then it's just a matter of figuring out what sound you're pulling from, how much detuning is taking place, how much movement is taking place, how much feedback is present, and what kind of effects are you playing with. And you want to try your best to get into a really tight space. You've got 2 oscillators here. You can vary the shape. They're not hardwired to just sine, triangle, and saw. You can move between them and have kind of a morphed appeal to the waveforms that you're using. You can also, if you look closely here, you can also see that you've got LFO, envelope, and feedback control over here. Kind of feeds back up into here. And the presets are based off of these different sounds, which is why each one has a pretty unique timbre to it. So we can move through the samples over here. I said timbre earlier, didn't I? I meant delivery. When I said each preset, I meant delivery. That's what I meant. Which is largely the settings down here, right? The tonality from the sample is separate, and you're managing which sample is playing from here. these are all loaded up in, not sure which order, honestly. I probably have to look at the manual. There's 23 sounds, and then after that it's empty. So now if we change the shape of the envelope down here, like if we add some attack, for instance, you'll see the shape of the envelope changing in this little window. And now it's important to remember that when you're modulating stuff, to remember that it's the shape that matters, right? So this right here is all you need to know in regards to what's going to happen when you turn this knob. Let me turn this down. So this guy, I'll turn on the feedback too. If you look at the playhead here, I'm going to zoom in on that playhead. So now this shape of our envelope is having a much more dramatic effect. And you can see, like if I increase the depth of the envelope here, you're going to see this playhead modulation indicator here go further out and come back. It's going to follow the same arc and shape of our envelope again. So if you're looking to pull in timbre from a broader range of your source material, you can use the LFO to do that in a finite way, or you can use the LFO to do it in a repetitious way, right? Feedback is just going to feedback everything. It's just going to build upon everything that's there, and it works in a positive and a negative manner. It's bipolar. Excuse me. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know, there's almost nothing that's truer. Right? Ooh. Ooh, Control 4 official. Just got Arc 3 running in Windows Audio the other day. And not just in a DAW. Nice. Hey, Rich is here. What's up, Scruffy Rico? How you doing? Hope you're doing all right over there. Yeah, Zendromic says it well. I think some abstract art is pretty. Others may see that abstract art as absolute garbage slop created by a toddler. Oh, it's so true. Caballo, welcome in. Zendromic says, I'm talking about art and music as far as the beauty of people take the handsome OhmLab here. If OhmLab were an asshole, which is not true, but if it was true, OhmLab would immediately become a very unhandsome person to me, regardless of how much hair gel is used, right? Yeah. Right? Yeah, no, it's true. Everything is subjective and should be monitored in context, right? Ooh. Sandra says, this reminds me of a discussion I had with my brother about the concept of total freedom. Philosophy definitely thrives on proofs, metaphysical proofs, logical proofs, rather than mathematical expressions, but proofs nonetheless. Solid. Solid. So anyway, long story short, this is really about paying attention to what shapes you are going to now send to the playback experience up here. You've got two oscillators that overlay the source audio here. And then you've got a bunch of effects and a filter here, which I cannot overstate the importance of when it comes to making really succinct and tight sounds like this. You get like, let's see here, clips. So if you were to recreate one of those really quick, you would come in here and say, I want to use this sound, but I am not going to use this really long envelope, and I'm going to bring back my envelope shape here because I'm only going to have time for a very succinct sound to develop and finish, because I'm going to come over here and I'm going to take my attack down and put just a tiny little hair back in there to avoid hard click. And then the decay is going to be way down. And my sustain will be all of the way down. So now I've just got a tiny little blip in here. And that's what's going to come through. So now I can make a click. Now we want to make sure that we have the right effects in place, right? So echo, reverb, all that kind of stuff. Like the reverb needs to come way down and the size needs to come down. And this envelope modulation is probably just a bit too much, and I want to find a better place here. Somewhere solid. And then you bounce a couple of those, and then you move on. But it really is just that simple. It's about putting really interesting sounds in, or getting a lot of harmonic like response from really mundane sounds, and then those oscillators to help support it. So you logically go from top to bottom, from LFO to ADSR, and then to effects. Basically, yeah, and that's mostly true about your workflow in most tools, right? I mean, it's up to you whether you want to do your shaping first or your timbre play first or whatever. Honestly, if you're looking to get really interesting sounds, leave your shape really long form and sustained, and find really good starting points and ending points. Find really interesting modulation stuff in there. Don't restrict yourself to just short form stuff, because then you're not disclosing anything interesting that might inspire you, right? And as soon as you hear something inspiring, that's when you need to record, right, and bounce that. Um, but at that point, you can start shaping it, right, and really honing in on exactly what it is that you're liking about it, and how succinct it should be, or how how much release there should be, for instance. How it behaves when the ADSR is being engaged with. Um, that's it, and then on to the next sound. Yeah. Beauty is ephemeral, right? Because, right, isn't it? It's like, not in the sense that, okay, hmm, ephemeral means fleeting. But I guess what I mean is that, is beauty itself, is beauty in a moment from one thing different than the beauty in a different moment from the same thing? Because I feel like we as humans are constantly re-enamored by, or constantly falling in love with something all over again, right? So I would posit that we're constantly kind of checking in on this. Um, yeah. Oh, yeah. So how do you bounce? So here's what you do when working with Reactor. In my opinion, it's a really good idea to work with a capture track, right? So pull in an audio track, and then you're just going to set the output of your software track to a bus. And then you could just use that bus as the input on your audio channel, and then record enable. And while you are playing on this channel, it will record on this channel. So as an example of that, we'll leave just a little bit more audibleness here. Okay, there's a decent click. So I will now record. All right, so I took a few takes. I'll go down here and take a look at that file really quick. Here they are. And this is where you start chopping and stuff. So what I would do in my normal workflow is I would chop this. I would strip silence, and I would just say, hey, I don't want really anything in here other than my sound. So these are going to be really tight. So I'm actually going to have to add a little bit of release time to these. And that's just simply because a sound needs to be a certain length to actually perform well in a lot of tools, which sounds really weird, but it's true. So we've got these tiny little clicks, right? These are less than a second, obviously. And then you just put tiny little fades on them, so you don't get cut clicks. And then you can start beefing them however you like, right? So the first thing I would typically do is take out the sub that doesn't need to be there, that's inevitably there in sounds like this. You want a little bit of it for impact, but not a ton, because you're about to blow this thing up. You probably want to generate some little bit of harmonic information in here, so you know what you're actually dealing with. And then from there, it's play. Like for me, I would probably stretch one or two of these just a little bit, so I could actually hear a bit more of the body on the character. That's interesting to me. It's like got a little tiny bit of texture to it. So I might be inclined to actually hit that instead of overdrive with some bit crush. Right. And I would probably stay away from a pristine sound. I'm a big fan of like that classic tape sound when you're mangling sounds. So that 10-bit resolution is kind of nice for that. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff happening in this sound now that we can actually hear. And this guy over here, it sounds almost like a pick hitting the side of a guitar string or something almost, right? So it too has nice character. Like both of those would probably be worth chasing on some level if you're making little ticks and clicks. And then if you're looking to make something just really interesting, a tool like Guitar Rig is probably a really good place to spend some time. Because you've got a huge range of tools here, right? You've got resonators and compressors and reverbs and delays and lots of different types of distortion and saturation to play with. So yeah, it's a good thing to remember to put this thing into stereo first. But let's say here, this one's probably big reverb here. Let's play one through big reverb. That would actually be a pretty nice spark for a suckback or like a little reversal. Yeah, control for official. I feel like whenever you're in Reactor, it's a really good idea to just set up your audio capture track in advance. I also tend to, and it's highly dependent upon how you work, obviously, but if you're comfortable separating sound design from other production efforts, it really is worth it with Reactor to spend a long time in it and record in like, I typically record in like 5 minute chunks or so. So nothing becomes too overwhelming file size wise. And I don't really take like any kind of performance hit at any point for that. Um, but it's a really helpful thing to just see everything being printed as you're working, knowing that you don't have to worry. You just go back and you can grab that thing that you just heard, and your mind can start racing with all of the potential, you know. Mm-hmm. It all comes back to the electric boogaloo. Absolutely. Oh yeah, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance was like it was almost like a must read back in the day, kind of like Slaughterhouse Five and um, oh my God, there were so many. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder how many of these are actually kind of must reads nowadays, right? Yeah. You chop with silencer, that's cool. Yeah, I do. No reason to do it manually if you can do auto magically. Bop it, stretch it, reverse it, bop it. As any good academic would respond, I paid good money for that vocabulary. We're back to the flat earth. Oh, right. Yeah, you get some really cool reverbs out of here because you've got dude, you've got stuff in here that you don't like. If you have guitar rig, then um, you've got amazing things. You've got amazing things. Like for instance, Reflector is an insane convolution reverb. It's fantastic. It's great. It doesn't have as much control, uh, like knobs and buttons uh, to tweak as some may. Uh, but oh my, like there's some pretty nice stuff coming out of Reflector. Oh. Yeah, exactly. I think Zendremic is making the point, and Proxima is recognizing the point here in the chat. Yes, it is an oblate spheroid. Yes, it's a donut hole. Oh man, I identify as a problem. Don't we all? Oh my gosh, right? I identify as an oblong duck. Oh man. Yeah, especially after you've had a couple of beers, right, Sadness? Absolutely. I love the switch to turtle too. So good. So good. All right, I'm gonna take this out. Delete those. And we'll take that out. Okay, so what did we learn today? We learned that we're gonna make some toppers, perhaps, for the next pack, perhaps. I think that's what we learned today. I'm not totally sold on that, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction. It's a very limited tool is the whole thing. That's why I'm not committing to it yet. It's such a limited tool that I'm afraid that once I get past like the first 25 sounds in there that we're going to be struggling for more uh like truly unique stuff. I tend to get a bit more out of um other layering tools. I'll have to think on this, but I do think the concept is sound, regardless of which tool ends up getting used. Should be a good one. When do you become a falafel? I think you have to become much, much, much more one with the universe to become a falafel, if I'm not mistaken. Falafels are darn near perfect. I mean, good falafels are. Oh boy, now this is a slippery slope. What is a good falafel? Proxima says, lessons learned today. One, number one, toppers for packs. Number two, philosophy is dumb. Number three, oblong spheroid. What, in your opinion, makes a great punchy kick that is not squashed? Ooh, knowing when to stop. I think that's probably the best answer to that question. What makes a great punchy kick that is not squashed? Knowing when to stop, not relying on compression for loudness, and involving saturation. So there's like harmonics and upward compression expansion might be helpful. Liv says, yeah, I need to start getting into fights at bars too. That sounds fun. Oh man. Control 4 official says, I've seen people mold a kick with like 20 EQs shaping it. Yeah, they probably need like 18 of them after they've put the second one on there just to. That's a lot. That's a lot. Falafel state of consciousness is advanced. Yeah, crunchy on the outside, squishy on the inside. Over 9,000 intellect. Find the sine wave at the bottom and is best left alone. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Transients make the kick. Yeah, there's the part that you feel and the part that you hear and then the part that satisfies you. You feel the thump of the low end frequencies. You immediately hear the click of the high end transient. But it's the body of it that ultimately really satisfies you, right? Um, so it's a bit of a loaded question. It really depends on what you're producing and how you're feeling in the moment and what things are going into the thing that you're producing. Because starting with the same kick every time is a way to come up with like a signature sound. It's also a way to limit things. I'm definitely like using a different kick and everything. You know, highly dependent. Highly dependent. Nobody good maximizers. Yeah, yeah. Um, the this guy. This True Peak limiter is pretty good as far as limiters go, and maximizer. Um, the What's the one from PSP? Not the L2, right? That and the Ultra. Is that PSP or is that Waves? I'm trying to remember. It's tough to beat the old PSP. I'm trying to remember what it is emulating. Yeah, this is nice. Proxima says Lauren does this really cool kick design trick where he makes a basic kick, then takes a field recorder and plays the kick out of a guitar amp and records from different places in his house, and then mashes the recordings all together. Um, yeah, let's just go see really quick if PSP still has their maximizer. That vintage warmer, though, seriously, after all these years, it is still just really nice. It's really nice. Um, Nope, that's just down. Yeah, maybe they do not. I'm thinking of someone else's then. It's not the Waves one, is it? Um, hmm. I guess I am thinking of Waves. Uh, if you look at the L1, I don't think it's. I think the L2 is the one that was super simplified, and you lost. L3 had the 5 bands. The 16 band Ultra. The LL, which is the low latency one. I want to say, because I do remember having kind of a beef with one of the multi maximizers. But it is pretty nice to have the multi band uh, option there. I'm gonna look up the WeSim M1 here. Oh, it's soft tube. I would absolutely endorse soft tube over waves. Um, Probably without even hearing it. Isn't that awful? Isn't that awful? I'm gonna listen to a couple of examples here, but um, soft tubes has a great attention to detail with their emulation. So. Yeah, I would take that for a spin. I would.
The same technology as the flagship DS1 that is seen in most top mastering houses around the world. Most people use the MM1 on their master fader or stereo out, but we will start by taking a look at how it can be used on instrument buses and even individual tracks.
I bet you will.
This example, Now let's mix some dry signal back in by rocking the parallel mix knob back and forth until it sounds just right.
Yeah, I'd use that. Split a master into 3 bands, use separate instances on different bandwidths. Yeah, absolutely. Dead Mao saying his new favorite maximizer. What's up, Bunch, by the way? See you. How you doing, homie? Yeah, I'll have to take this for a spin. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we have run over. Does it shift phase? I don't think it does. I don't see anything on it that says, or that leads me to believe that it would. Hey, look at that dead mount right there. Like they said. No, I think this is straight loudness. That's true. That's true. Well, as a result of EQing, it shifts phases, right? You're pushing things around. It's true. I feel like I need to revisit the idea of these toppers a bit more in regards to what is going to happen with them. If you guys have any interesting ideas for what type of source sounds to include in the mix, I'm always open. Let's, since we've already run over by so much, let's, oh my goodness. Guy Doer says, BLTs being made, must prepare brain for happiness. All right, kitty cats, let's see who is up doing their thing on Twitch right now. We're going to go rate them. And I will see you guys on Friday for Feedback Friday. It'll be fun, hopefully. Should be. It's you guys supplying the music, so that'll make it better. Who is up? Man, obviously we are needing to bring in new followers, or we need to follow some new channels because we have fallen out of sync time-wise with a lot of our streaming friends. Let's go say hi to E-Town. We haven't seen him yet this week. I will see you guys in 2 days' time. Make sure you show up early on Friday. It'll probably be another busy one. So if you want to be heard, drop your links early. And on that note, stay inspired. And don't freeze. If it's freezing where you are, don't freeze. And I'll see you in a couple of days. Appreciate you. Peace out. Bye.